Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Hair Impact. This is Kusandehilas, your host. And today we're gonna learn a little bit about Marie Curie. So, this woman in science that is just such a pioneer in radioactivity, she is really this genius that every woman and man, of course, in science are looking up to her. She was really astonishing. And today we're gonna see and learn why that is. So, Marie, originally her name was Maria Salomea Slodowska. She was Polish origin, of course, that's why her name is like this. And she was this chemist that conducted pioneer research on radioactivity. So if we know anything about radioactivity, it's because of her and original research she did. So her and her family have got quite a lot of Nobel Prizes. The Curie family actually has 5 Nobel Prizes, which is like, how many families you know that have so many Nobel Prizes? She herself was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. And of course, the first person and only woman to win 2 Nobel Prizes. And also the only person to win the Nobel Prize in 2 different scientific fields, which is in chemistry and physics. So she was born in Poland, which was part of the Russian Empire back then, in 1867. So she started science then, and when she was just 24, she followed her elder sister in Paris. And that's where, the higher degrees education started, and her scientific work also. A few years later, she married the French physicist Pierre Curie, which she shared in the 1903 Nobel Prize in Physics. Him and also the physicist Henry Becquerel for their work on radioactivity. Afterwards, a few years afterwards, her husband died in 1906, and he died actually in an accident. So she was really desperate and disappointed. She and him were very much in love, but she continued her science and her work in science. And then a few years later, she won actually another Nobel Prize in chemistry, this time in 1911, when she discovered the elements of polonium, which she named after her country, Poland, and radium. And he used these techniques to invent for isolating these 2 isotopes in radioactivity. Under her direction, we have all this study conducted for treatment for cancer with this radioactive isotope. Of course, in 1920, she founded the Curie Institute in Paris and another institute in Warsaw, her country. During World War I, what she did is that she developed these mobile radiography units to provide X-ray service for field hospital, and that was very important. So that was one of the breakthrough for the X-rays machines we have until today in the hospitals. She had 2 daughters, and with them she was doing the same with the X-rays, discoveries. So there, her daughters follow her in Portland also. And unfortunately, Marie Curie died just in 1934. She was only 66. And she died because of, she developed this something called aplastic anemia. So that's like a way of leukemia, let's say, because of her exposure, long time exposure and radiation, because of her work. And in addition to many Nobel Prizes, she received other also tributes. And she is the first woman actually to be in the Paris Pantheon, which Pantheon has got many important people there. But I think that Marie is not just scientists that make, breakthrough discoveries. I mean, we have cancer treatment because of her now. So she saved so many lives, not like thousands and thousands of lives, her and her family. But if you see also the film, by just showing her life, her difficult life in Paris and in Portland, and the whole difficulty she experienced as a woman in science, which again she was always didactic, and being of course married to a scientist, a male scientist, she got some validation from that. But again, it was really difficult even before that, because like for instance, she became a professor. She was the first woman professor back then in Paris, in taking over her husband position. So we see that how far we have made in the universities, in the research centers, for women. We see more women in the positions of Marie, but we don't see enough. We're not even close gender equal universities, and in science we don't see that yet. And as we go, decades and 100 years later, we see, some progress. But still, if you ask around, we have some progress, but we haven't have the progress you expect over 100 years after, Marie was born. So she died in 1934. Still, not many things have changed. Yes, we see some progress in the numbers of women you see in the universities, but still, women are forced out of science. There's no lack in funding for them. You don't have any funds. Position are controlled by the professors, which is higher percentage are male. So, learning this actually histories, these women in science, is not only about to learn about their life, their achievement, but mostly is to see their difficulties. And Marie's difficulties are not really mentioned. If you go to read her life, you don't see so much. But we know back then she must have done the impossible with her work, and and winning 2 Nobel Prizes. And that's why I believe she was this really genius person that made the impossible, to get recognition for her work as a woman. That's for me is the impossible. So thank you for being with me with another episode of Her Impact. Just remember, make science your superpower, and I'll see you next time with another episode.